So, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining in well in time. I would request all of you who are present here to please put your cameras on. Thank you, Raja. That was quick. And request Jeevan, KBS 91779 and Rukmini also to please get the camera on. So, guys, let us all welcome Mr. Venkat Raman, who we all very lovingly call Venkat, and that also Coach Venkat or Excel Venkat, as we all know him. He is an Excel expert. He has corporate experience behind him, but he is a passionate trainer, especially for Excel, having known how it is one of the universal programs that all of us have to use, irrespective of what job we are doing nowadays. It's part and parcel of who we are. So today he has taken time out of his busy schedule. These 45 minutes, I would request all of us to make the most of it. Thank you, Venkatji, for coming over and blessing us with your presence. And today's session, we will have Mr. Amit Ganguly, who is a senior core team member of CLC and also a veteran from the industry, IT and L&D OD expert himself, and he also owns a IT company, IT solutions company currently. So I would welcome you, Amitji, and thank you for agreeing to moderate this session. So guys, all of you, not only are we going to get ready listening to Venkat's expertise, but let us have some good questions and make the most of these 45 minutes. With that, I would like to hand it over to Venkat and you can get started.
Thank you, Archana ji. So since Archana ji has already introduced Venkat ji, so let's start with this. This is actually a question that I also had, I would say, a couple of years back. That well, I know Excel pretty well. I'm using Excel for ages. I don't know for how many years. It kind of I can manage my work pretty well with my knowledge. So, do you think people still need to, I mean, learn Excel or do some training in Excel, or how is it? So, what is your take on that, Venkatji?
Namaste, good morning, Vandanam, Namaskaram to everyone. Actually, this is the general question everyone asks. Do I need to learn Excel? Right? I say you don't need to learn. Right? There is no need at all. Generally, when I ask what is the source of learning for you, they say YouTube. YouTube is the greatest tool. I have a due respect for YouTube and do it. Can someone in this group tell me which one is the first video to learn the basics for Excel? Can someone share me? And then subsequently, what are the sequence of that sessions to learn step by step, right? So which means we are all, when there is a problem, we go and check in YouTube, start doing it without even understanding the concept of it, we will do it logically, right? Then the problem is for the same problem, after 2 months, again, we'll check the same video. We always think that we found something new and we'll implement it and do it. This is the challenge with people because instead of doing it, understanding it technically, if you can understand conceptually and logically, right, you don't need to do it. For which you need a trainer, you need a mentor who can help you to understand step by step, right? So if that is the case, if I can learn everything from YouTube, I can watch 4 hours of video of doing open heart surgery and I can go and do it. Correct? No. So it's very simple. Or maybe I'll say 12 hours of video, 18 hours of video. Still, I can do that. Correct? It doesn't go that way. No, the step by step understanding is always important. So, yes, learning of Excel from an external source, an experienced person is always mandatory. It is recommended. The word I use mandatory because it is mandate to learn from a trainer, from a mentor, so that you learn better logics, better tricks, better shortcuts. I hope that answered the question.
Absolutely, Venkatji. Thank you. My next thought, I mean, in line with the YouTube or Udemy and all these things, I am personally not a big fan of pre-recorded training courses because I personally feel that it's good if I am doing 10% knowledge enhancement. I know 90%, just 10% knowledge enhancement I am doing. For those cases, it is good. But if anything, knowledge enhancement is required beyond 10%, then 100% I will have some question, I will have some doubt, and I need a human being to ask this question, which is not possible in these pre-recorded training programs. So, do you agree on that, Venkatji?
See, absolutely. Now, attending a pre-recorded session, it is like, some other marriage happened few years before. You are playing that video and tying a knot. So it doesn't go that way. Okay. So you have to in it to understand what is that. So you need to experience it. When you ask some questions, there's someone to answer it, right? So because that function Muhurta is 7 to 8:30, though I scheduled at 9:30 to 10, because of that video, you cannot go and align night the knot at, tie the knot at 7 to 8:30, right? So you should be there and someone should be there. And it is always better to have a face-to-face training. Either it could be online or offline. That's the reason even today we are requesting everyone to switch on the video, right? So you have to be a human. So that's the reason we are requesting to switch on the video.
Great. So, Venkatji, my request to you to enlighten all of us on some of the areas or tricks of Excel which you feel that all of us we should be aware and which will be helpful for everyone.
No, absolutely, I'm going to do that. But beforehand, let me give you some basics of how you have to start learning because that's very important. When it comes to Excel, people think, I know everything, but it doesn't go that way, right? So even when I started my career of teaching MS-DOS, WordStar, Lotus 123 in 1992, I was super fascinated with Excel because that time it was not so popular. I think version 4, I guess, Excel 4 or 5. I could not remember it and was so fascinated because that was a Windows version and everything was in white color. No, all those days we used to see only this green color and the gray color, monochrome green, monochrome gray, right? When something in the graphic, what's fascinated, I started learning. That day I decided that I need to learn step by step. Okay. Those times, no YouTube or no Excel gurus like this. And I follow a couple of Excel gurus now. Those days, nothing, right? So no internet, no proper internet, no Google, nothing. So what I have to do, I need to understand with the help inside this Excel file, Excel application. So it was a bit challenging and do it. So I decided, let me create a framework for people to understand how to go about using this Excel system. For this matter, not only Excel, any BI systems you go for it, you have to follow this technique. I'm sure end of the session, you will agree. Let me start with it without any delay, right? Whenever you're working with the data, because Excel is all about data. So I always tell people on the lighter note, Excel is not about magic. It's all about logic. Okay. There is no emotions to Excel at all. It's only a logical tool. Garbage in, garbage out. What you put inside, you will get outside. That's all. Right? Don't think, oh, I'm working with Excel for 20 years. It is not helping it. It will not because it's a logical tool, right? It cannot do any magics for you. Right? These are the 4 steps where you need to ensure to prepare a data to do it. Because these 4 steps very crucial for you to have a proper reporting system in using Excel. And many of the people are missing this. Let's go ahead quickly. The first step is you should have a proper data. That's very important, right? And proper informations to be captured. That's very, 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 very essential. Many people miss this aspect because they want to see. Sometimes I've seen in clients they want to take month-wise data, whereas in the sales data they would have missed out to capture the date itself. Okay, without that, I cannot capture. So data preparation is a crucial stage where you have to do it. And the validation. The validation is a key because Excel is built on functions and formulas, right? So it is based on some data you're entering into the cell. And Excel functions, there are 450 plus functions is to be clearly created with based on the data types. Okay, the data you enter into the cell. If you don't validate it properly, you cannot use the proper function. Let's say date. I'll show you with an example when we are taking through. So you can understand the power of why we need to do this validation. And the third step is analysis. Okay, I have my data, I did validation. You should know what to do with the data, right? So if you don't have a clue of data, no, my guru always says, unimplemented knowledge is always a burden for you, right? Which means if you have clueless on what to do with the data, that data is yet another Excel file or it is an yet another junk file which is occupying your hard disk space. Okay, so you should have a clear idea of what analysis you're going to do with this data. And the fourth step is visualization. This is where comes at the final, once everything is done. But if you closely observe, people work in the reverse order actually. Okay, they don't work in the forward order. So they work in the reverse order. They decide first what graph I want, then do what data I want. So and finally they end up in messing up the entire structure. So you have to follow these four steps. You can ask, is it proven? Yes, I'm using the same framework in my work and it is helping me a lot to achieve the goal I want. Okay. Okay. What should I do? What is that I need to do all these things? So generally, I've created my own framework called Leader for people to understand how to approach this learning, right? I've created for Excel, but this can be implemented for anything, for learning anything, driving a car or cooking, whatever it is. So it can be used. Let's go through it, each and every letter so that we can quickly jump into the Excel system. So let's explore. The L stands for understand the basic principles first, right? Why cell, right? What is data types and how does it work? Why should I enter my data type? Now, how the file is structured and what is the difference between the 365 edition of Excel and non 365 edition of Excel? Because I take a lot of corporate sessions. Whenever I go and ask, how many of you are using 365? Everyone raise the hand. No, 50, 60, 70. And ask them, what's new in 365 compared with the previous version? They say, sir, when I open it, Excel, that logo will come in green color and white background. That's the difference I see. But Excel is not meant for that. 365 has a lot of things. So you need to understand the basics of it. That's the very key information which we are going to learn. I have seen again, so many people are using, iPhone 16. You ask him what is new in that. No one knows because of the brand, because of the status of symbol. They go and buy it without knowing it how to use it. Still, I see people using green color button and red color button. Okay, so it doesn't go that way. You need to understand, then engage, understand slowly forward and understand the core functionalities like the Excel table, the pivot table. There are a lot of additions now. Recently, Excel has included Python in Excel itself. Earlier, we used to do it separate. Now, Excel 365 has a Python interface inside an Excel, which works beautifully, right? So you need to understand those core functionalities and what is Power Query, what is Power Pivot, and what is VBA, how does it work, and all these things. And slowly proceed. So you cannot be an overnight champion. So make sure that you slowly progress and slowly moving into a complex calculation so that you can understand what is required and you can enhance your skills in a better way. And once you feel that, okay, I'm comfortable with this function, put yourself in a challenge where you can use that function and you can come out, because more than learning, practicing and implementing will give you a more grip of the system, how it works, right? And next is then continuous progress is always the better way of growing yourself. 1% of improvement, there is a scope for 1% improvement every day. Even now I do an introspection every day where I need to improve myself, and I dedicate 2 hours of learning Excel every day. Even today I do it, maybe not continuous, but in a small breaks I do it. And finally, regularly reinforce practicing so that you remind that and you can do it. So this leader is help you to make you a leader of your system. Correct? So I hope you have understood. So before I get into an Excel, how many of you are working with Excel here? How many of you are working with Excel? Okay, I think Aarti madam, Amit sir is also raising his hand. Aparna is also raising her hand. Right. What is the quality of a leader? The quality of a leader is not doing the job. The quality of a leader is getting the job done. Correct? When I talk about leader, you should know how to get the job done from Excel. Now you are all working with Excel. You are not getting the job done from Excel. Correct? You are not getting the job done from Excel. You are working with Excel, which means you need to learn the techniques of how to get the job done from Excel. Clear? So now let's explain. Let's jump into this Excel system and show you the basic difference. What is the basic difference between and the 365 edition and non 365 edition, so that you understand how deep they have created a concept of doing it. So let me start this session. I'm opening up the Excel. This is a 365 edition of Excel. I'm using a 365 edition of Excel. Okay. Now, what is a new in 365? Basic. Okay. They've introduced a concept called dynamic array functionality. What is this dynamic array? So now I have a data like this. Now I want to sum each line. So because you're all Excel users, can someone open up the mic and tell me how do I do it?
Hit the auto sum button.
No, I want line total only, no summing. I want the line total. Every line, this has to be total, this has to be total, this has to be total. What I do equals to this plus this, right? And I drag it, correct?
Right.
Anyone works in a different way of getting this answer? Please open up and let me know. I will also learn that method from you. This is the standard method with which you cannot deviate and work, right? Okay. Let me explain what is dynamic array functionality. I'm going to do the same calculation. This one, select this plus this one. Okay. The dynamic array means, let me explain. In the previous versions of Excel, when you do a calculations like this, in the non-365 edition, the Excel has the capability of handling only the first answer. Okay, it doesn't know how to do the second, it doesn't know how to work one. Now, if you want to check after this session, you can do the same thing if you are using non-365 edition of Excel. Okay, but this is going to help us to understand how this 365 works. Now, because it could not handle how many, I mean, if it is going to, my calculation is, my formula or a function is going to generate more than one answer, it doesn't know how to answer, I mean, handle it. It gives you only the first answer. But in 365, when you do this calculation and you press enter, you can see it formed a dynamic array and it is created an answer. So this dynamic array capability has been extended to all the functions in Excel. Any feature, any function you goes, it supports this dynamic array functionality. Now, see here, the beauty is when you go and add, you go and add 5 and 6. Now you see this calculation happens automatically. So the array is automatically expanding and dynamically it works. That's the power of this one, right? Okay. You might ask, so does it mean that I cannot work the same way in the previous edition? Still it can work. But the lacking part is those in those edition, any function, any calculation doesn't have a capability of dynamically spilling the values, right? So in that case, if you want to do this in the 360 non-360 edition of Excel, first you need to select the output range because it doesn't know the dynamic array. Now I'm telling Excel my answer is going to spill in this 3 columns. Okay, then I type equals to this one plus and this one. Now the same calculation I do in this example, I just press enter. That's all. Whereas now it's not only selecting the array, the output range. I need to tell Excel also, boss, don't make a normal calculation. Make a calculation of this range and put it in each cell. Right. So to instruct that, you have to press Control, Shift, and Enter. You get the same answer. Okay, this is how we work in non-365 edition. This is called CSC logic. Right? This is called CSC, Control, Shift, and Enter. Most complicated logic when you want to do some calculations with this. So it's very complicated to understand itself. No, for this example, it is very simple. But when you're working with a complicated one, it's very, very, very difficult. So we need to understand how to make it very simple, easy, and it can work for us. So now this is pretty simple and very easy. Now you see, I'm adding one more row here. So 4 and 5. Now you can see it could able to add, but again, this is not added because I defined by selecting the range. What I have to do, go here, select, then Control Shift Enter, then it spills. No, this is a manual activity, whereas this is an dynamic. That is why this is called as a dynamic array functionality, right? Okay. Now, second thing. Now you could see here, there is a blue color line. There is a blue color line here. It shows which cell I am in, right? This feature is also introduced in 365. This feature is called focus cells. It doesn't come on its own. Now, in the previous editions of Excel, you'll have to write a VBA code to do this. Now it's very simple. Now you can go here and see. 1 minute, I'll hide my panel. So you can go here and there is a focus cell option. Uncheck it, you will not get it. And when you're dealing with a lot of data, you can use this focus cell. So it shows you in which cell you are in, right? They may started doing a lot of things, small things, and you can do it, right? Okay, is that clear? How many of you understood something, learn something new? Okay. Now these are the ways can help you to smartly build your system itself. Let's quickly see some other things, and before we jump into handling some data, some features, how you can smartly use the system, and you can do that. Now, second is, now generally, this is a cell which can contains a type of data. Now, the type of data which you can enter in cell is character, number, date, time. Anything else apart from this type you enter in a cell? What about currency?
The
Yes.
symbols.
Keep it in mind.
Symbols.
Keep it in mind.
Okay.
There is always a wrong understanding. Currency is a formatting of number. It's not a data type, right? The base is number. On top of it, you do the currency. Symbol is a non-numeric which comes under character. Okay, anything non-numeric is a character. And additionally, there is a type called logical also there. This is true or false. Right? Excel can understand true or false. All this latest dynamic array 365 functionalities created with this concept only. So all functions can understand true or false only. Right? So again, that itself is a concept. Now you need to understand how it works. Now it creates an impact when you are working with some data, but there is also a workaround with which we can do that. Okay. Now there is always a question, why should I know about this data type? Should I need to know about this data type? Is it so? Do you think, any one of you think that you need to know about this data type?
Yes.
Why?
One of the things I saw is like, suppose you want to add or do any of those functionalities and you don't know how to even put that. So if you put 10,000 and you put a comma in between or stuff like that, it doesn't work.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let me demonstrate with a small example. Okay. Now let's have some date here. This is always 11th is always my 11 is always my favorite. Now here is the question for people here. What is the last day in this month of this year? Last day in this month of this year.
Tuesday,
31st
31st.
December 2024.
I repeat my question. What is
Tuesday.
the last date in this month, that is in this month of this year?
28, no? I'm looking at the calendar.
I know, because you are not getting the job done. You are still working with the Excel. This is a classic example. See, please understand, right? The general technique what people use is 2024 divided by 4. If the remainder is 0, then it's a leap year. I have 29 months, right? That's the calculation we do, correct? Because that's how you calculate the leap year.
I
Correct?
didn't
No?
even know that. I always look at the calendar. Thank you for telling me that.
Okay. Now I'm going to tell you this one. What if I'm typing this 11th December 2132? I don't know. We will not be there, right? But I want to know how many days in this month in this year, right? This is where data type plays a crucial role. When you have a data type, you have a relevant function with which you can bring it. So let me tell you, see here, Aram say I will use a function called EO month just to find out what is the last date. See here, I got 29th February, correct? So I type 11th February 1960. Okay, so I get 29. Now I go and type 1962. See, it's only 28. See, I don't need to do anything. See, this is called getting the job done. I don't need to do anything. Now, let's go ahead and do it. 2132. No, it is a leap year. 2132 is a leap year, and we have 29 months. See, I don't need to break my head of doing it. It works for me, and this is called a leader. You have to get the job done from Excel, rather you are doing it, right? Because generally what we do is we waste our time of doing calculate I still remember, okay, when I working in a shipping company way back in 96, that Excel, I'm fascinated, but someone asked for Excel. No, I get suddenly energized and Phil, so tell me what you want. So one person has asked me how to do a total. I told him he's taken a printout. I found after some time he was doing something with the calculator. I asked him, what are you doing? I want to ensure that the printout is matching with the total. Okay. So that level of ignorance people worked that time. But now because of this YouTube and all, people get to know more about the system and do it. So please understand, and this is how you can work with it and do it. Okay. Now I type 11th February 1899. What is the expected answer here? Okay, I'll zoom
Definitely
because
28 February.
28. Who said 28?
Rajagopal.
Thank you, Rajagopal sir. Oh, our Takudu. I forgot. Sorry. Okay. Right. Unfortunately, it's not only understanding about the function, you need to understand the concept also here. For this matter, any system can understand the date only from 1/1/1900, not before that. Now, when you press enter, you get an error. It cannot understand. You got it? See, it's not only technical. You have to understand conceptually also how it works. Is that clear? So that's very important. So generally people get the technical knowledge and try to apply it directly. That's where many people doesn't know how to use this Excel. Okay, that's because they gain the technical knowledge. They don't get the functional and the logical knowledge. So logical, conceptual, technical knowledge all put together only will make you as an expert in the system, right? Nothing, it doesn't work. So we need to understand this. I hope this one example made you to help why you need to understand the concept. Correct? So conceptually, you need to understand it, and it's very important. Because see, the function also failed. The function also, it is clearly failed. Right? No, if it is now. And next thing is, now I type like this. It's a date, correct? So what is the answer will be in the next column? Will I get 29th February or some error?
Invalid, error.
Why?
Because it's not a format, acceptable format of date.
How do you know that this is not an acceptable format?
There is no dot or
proof?
no.
Not required. I don't need it.
Oh,
now,
really?
Even when I typed, see here, when I typed 11th February, I used only space. When I typed space, I got it. See here. So I typed the same way. What will be the answer? Rukmini madam, I will enter this formula at the end. Yeah, go ahead, sir. Please,
probably based on your system settings, it might consider that 11 as November.
Perfect. Right. So again, concept plays a role here. When there is a number with a space, it's a character only, non-numeric. It's not a date. When you press enter, see here, you get an error. See, conceptually, we need to understand. Okay. So it doesn't go. When you add a number with a space, it is not a number anymore. It's alphanumeric because space is considered as a character and it converts. Right. So these are the conceptual basics things we need to know, because this you will do it in the data preparation stage and the data validation stage. When you do it at both the places, your data is perfect. Understand, imagine that you have captured some 100,000 records. Now, at the validations, the analysis stage, if you're going to do this, it's very painful to do it in all the 100,000 lines. Correct? It's very difficult. So always do it at the beginning, at the preparation stage and the validation stage. This is what you do it in the validation stage. I will see everything is perfect as per my requirement, because based on which I can use this functionality. Is that clear? Sounds interesting, right? There are a lot of basic logical things which we need to understand, right? So let's go ahead and I'll show you some sample data so that you can understand how it is. So I'm just opening up some sample data. I don't know whether you will look at this data, but I will still get you this data. 1 minute. Okay, just get some data. Please excuse me. I know Archana is thinking of extending the session by half an hour, correct?
I want to attend. I want to attend your regular session with 5,000 rupees. This is not enough. I need slow. All the formulas went off
Okay.
me, Venkat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it needs.
So this is the data. This is the data I have. Now I want to do some analysis. My data is prepared properly. I have validated my data. This is the sample data downloaded from it. When you're working with the Excel, follow these 5 steps, which I followed from the day one, right? Understand the requirement first. Then understand the data, right? And build the logic, right? Then test it, or you can say mock it. Then implement it. See, if you follow these 5 steps, you can be rest assured your report is going to be a super interesting report. Okay, I'll tell you. You might ask, oh, should I need to follow? Even if you want to do biryani, okay, let me tell you. I know everyone is hungry, but still, okay. If you want to take this biryani, let's put that preparing biryani in this example. First, you need to understand the requirement. When I say biryani, the first question what you will ask, whether you want vegetable biryani or non-veg biryani, because you have to be very clear on the requirement, right? Based on the requirement, you will see whether the data is available or not, correct? That if it is a vegetarian, should I have all the ingredients available to make it ready or no, right? Then the third step is build a logic. Logic in the sense what you do. Okay, first I need to soak this basmati water in the basmati rice in the water, keep it on the stove, switch on. By the time I will get this vegetables and get it ready. If I need to get non-veg, I'll get it, clean it, wash it, and keep it ready. The sequence you will say how to address to achieve it. Test and mock it. You keep everything ready. Once you build a logic, you will keep it ready, and you will say, okay, this first one. Now, sometimes you talk with you. How many of you, realize it? Now you talk with this one. Okay, done, done. Because when you're driving with the car, also you'll do it. Okay, first I need to go this direction, left, right, and okay. Especially people in Bangalore, they have to decide. No choice. Okay, this time if this is traffic, then finally you will implement it, right? So imagine if you have to follow these steps to prepare a biryani, and if you want to make a meaningful analysis report, how much you see it is mandatory, essential to follow these steps. Okay. Do you know who told who introduced this five point approach? It's me only, no one else. Right. I have developed for me, and I thought, okay, I can share it with you people. Right. Okay. What are the features available? Now let's get into a small functionality so that you can understand. Now, with this data, I understood I want to create some region-wise report. So let's make it. I'll tell you how to make it very smart and how do you make this Excel to work for you, right? So I'm just doing it. I'm going to show 3 steps of achieving that goal. Okay. And you can decide which step is beautiful, fascinating for you, and you think which one you can use it. So let's go to do it. I'm not going to tell you which formula you'll have to use, how to use it, what are the steps. I'm going to show you how how it has to be done. The first step. Okay. This is the legacy method. This is the conventional method, which we are doing it from 1992. Okay. First, so I'll just do one thing. I'll just copy and paste this because I want to get the region wise report. So I copy this, paste it, go to data, and I remove duplicates, and I don't have my headings, and I just remove my duplicate, and I'm going to write my sum if function. My range is this. Okay, comma. And I will share this file probably, you can share it with the people so that they can understand. So there is no sales in the West. It seems, oh, sorry, not selected this one. So it is done. Now the total sales also, I will bring it here. This is my total sales. Okay. So this is my total sales of 12 crore, blah, 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 something. And I'm going with the breakup of this. Now, if I need to make it fixed, if I want to drag this formula, I need to use this logic. Okay, when I do it, I select and I also cross check. So it is tallying. Paka. Done. Okay, this is a conventional, non-conventional method. The problem with this, should there be any region added here? Again, problem, I need to copy and paste and do it, right? So how can I do it in 365? That will make our life very simple. See here. there is a dynamic array function called unique, where I will use this. Now it is done. I got this. The list, I didn't do copy, paste, remove duplicates and all. Using a unique function, I could able to do what? Then I just go here, sum if function, right? And this is the range, comma. And because I'm using a 365 function, I can take a help of the spill operator and I can go ahead and do this. Now you can see it is my answer is ready. I don't need to do anything. The answer is by default, it is ready, correct? Then it matches with the same and I total it. Probably you can ask, what is the difference between these two, correct? Now I will show you the difference. I'm just changing this West to Bangalore, right? So in the first conventional method, I'll have to go and change, correct? But in the second method, see here, automatically Bangalore is dynamically adjusted, correct? So this is the smart way of getting the job done from the system. Now, stop. I'm going to show you another even more better method of doing it so that I don't need to write this unique function, the sum function, this total and all. Okay. One single function I'm going to do it. See here. There is a function which can help me to do this, comma, and this one, comma, and I want the sum function. See here, the magic is going to happen now. Magic is going to happen now. See here, when I press enter, I didn't do anything. It takes care of everything, right? It doesn't stop here. Please wait. It doesn't stop here. Now, I want to find out the sum, the count, and the average of the same one, right? So simply, there is a function with which I can do this. See here, average and count. Simple. Now I got all these things. See, done. But one function I could able to do it. Now you go and change this to Chennai, the entire data will change. See here, the entire, now this is having, I'll just move it here. Now you can see it could able to identify what is the sale of this one, that one, this one, data. I can get it. So understand, if you want to achieve something, Excel has multiple ways of doing it, right? Only thing is we need to understand which is feasible. Yes. Group by is a SQL function they've introduced, and pivot by is also there. That's an Excel SQL function that is also there in Excel. Okay, they've introduced it recently, right? And day by day they are introducing new functions. So if you don't update, you will be outdated. Okay, so that's why I'm investing 2 hours every day to learn Excel to grow my knowledge to the next level. Okay, and super interesting thing, last 10 days before, they've introduced a new function. Let me show you what is that, right? Generally, when you have a data like this, okay, so when you have a data like this, we have a tendency of doing like this, correct? How many of you do like this? How many of you do like this? I could not see everyone's hand. Raja, you do it. Mahesh sir, sometimes you do it. Okay. Now, the problem is, if you can see, you have unnecessarily make this function to spill up to the last record of 10,48,576. Okay. See, this can be achieved with the help of table, and table is a bigger concept to do it. But let's make it very simple. Microsoft has introduced two new methods of addressing it. Let me show you what is that. They have introduced a function called trim range, right? So this trim range function, this is not in live, this is only still in testing. When you type it, it trims. Somehow I'm missing E always. Right now, see here, it trims the value. It doesn't go, whichever cell has a value, it trims, it sums only this. See here. Now I add 4 and 5. It gets added automatically. You don't need to do anything, which means dynamically it does the space management. When you have it for all the formulas, the problem is if you do it in the previous method, like, equal to this G1, that one, every time when you open an Excel, it calculates again, right? Recalculates again. Imagine that you are using 100 functions like this. Every time it calculates, okay, it will slow down your PC and you will end up in performance issues. Sometimes you would have seen core, processing 1 core, 2 core, or you can see a hour clock taking too much of time because of this more usage of the calculation formula. which is used without understanding the method of optimizing it and using it, right? So these are the functions can help you to do it and efficiently work on it. So it doesn't stop. Let's come back to this previous example. With this, I will close the session. I'll hand it over to the moderator. He can take it forward. Right now, the challenge for us is okay, this unique function with which I could able to find out what are the unique records. No, these are the unique records, correct? So I say go here, unique, right? So this one, I get this. These are my unique records. Rather, I can call it as a distinct records, which is appearing one or more times. Now I want to get the unique records, right? So this same unique function with which you can do this same thing. I'll show you here. See here. Now, in our record, Bangalore and Chennai appears for one time. Rest all the regions appears multiple times. Correct? I could able to find out with the same unique function. Now you go and change this to Bangalore. Now you see what happens here. Right? When I type it, now you can see this Bangalore is gone. Oh, sorry. Did I made some mistake here? F2 to F2 not 3 only, correct? Let's go and change this to Bangalore and I should not get calc error. Okay. I should get only this unique items which is in that and it should exactly which appears exactly once it gives me that answer. It doesn't give me any other answer. I think somewhere I'm making some small mistake, which is that. So this parameter can help you to find out which item appears only once. This can help you to do an analysis. Let's say if you're in the sales, okay, you can find out which customer has given me only one order last month, okay, or in the given period, or which product has been sold only once, or probably you have a web series. No, let's say Archana is running a web series. Now you can see how many people have attended, registered for 10 sessions, but they have attended only one session. Okay. This can help you to do such analysis and reach out to more people. And this can help us to understand how the system works and take it forward. Right. So I hope I could able to give you some insights of how Excel can be of most useful to you, because this is just only, I would say not even a trailer. It is a teaser. Okay, it's a teaser which I could able to give you because Excel has lot more in it. So you can play around with the system, get it, automate these records, automate this information, and take your reporting system to the next level. With this, I'm handing over to Ganguly sir, Amit sir. I think I'm on dot 11:45.
Well, I am honestly spellbound, and this happens every time I speak to or attend some session with Venkatji or webinar. Every time I learn something new, and I mean, that is the reason I started this session with the question that we all know Excel. So why do we need Excel training, Excel session, and all these things? So I mean, ever since this started happening 2 years, 2.5 years back, when I first spoke to Venkatji, and I understood that I don't know anything about Excel, honestly. So every time I get enlightened. So wonderful. Thank you so much, Venkatji, for enlightening our mind. So let's open it up for the questions from the audiences, anyone. I
So
don't
I have
see.
a quick question from the accountancy profession point of view.
Sure.
It's a massive, massive time save, and since accountants basically are time sellers or trading time for money, what do you see, Venkatji, in terms of uh, what could be the best functions from the latest versions that you've just demonstrated for
Sure.
accounting?
Sir, I would suggest for accountant, right? Accounting, because I help a couple of companies to set up the financial modeling. I'm not from a finance background, but I took a help from the people. They told me how to do it. I could able to do it. One such powerful tool is Power Query. You can use it. Power Query is a beautiful tool because recently I've done it for one of the clients. They want to compare the P&L imported, I mean, from the tally, and they want to do it because as there's no facility in that. So I help them to set up a system in such a way that you can download the tally comparison of 5 years. There is a standard report inside in this. Okay, Power Query. Yeah, of course, Power Query. So that Power Query, I imported this data from this tally report, processed it, and showed the way the customer wants. So Power Query is one of the beautiful tool with which you can do it. And to add to it, there is a Power Pivot tool which can help you to present your data beautifully. See, Power Query tool is a transformation tool, and Power Pivot is an advanced tool for Pivot to present your data. And there is always a myth with the people. Okay, because the sheet has a limitation of 10,48,576, I can load only 1 million record. No. And Amit sir knows, we worked on one project recently for another client. I showed them how to load 10 million records in Excel, and the report works much faster without any latency, right? It is the way you can plan it, load the data, and show to them how it works. So these Power Query is one of the best tools, because whatever changes you want, you can do it. On top of it, there are functions like PV, FV, IRR, and net calculations. All these things are there. With the output from Power Query, you can use it for your functionality, sir. Because those functions will give you an output, but for the data, you need to transform the data, because not always you get the data in the same format. When you type it, when you export from SAP, when you export from Oracle, when you export from Tally, or different software has a different format. So Power Query is the best to recommend that tool to transform your data before you apply all these functionalities.
Amazing. Any other question? I mean, in the chat window, I can see Aparna ji is saying it's too complex for me. Want to learn from the basics. Thank you. So
Obviously.
definitely.
Yeah. I mean, Aparna here, I understand these functionalities because somebody in the organization is helping me out in terms of formulating and then designing, but I myself want to do it. Most importantly, understanding where the problem is, and then, like Mr. Venkat said, no, what is my requirement? The challenge I currently face is somebody has designed. So if I have to make even minute changes or even understand the logic, that is where my time investment is going. But do you run a regular course wherein I can certainly sign up and then
You can touch base through Archana. So we
sure.
can
Yes, so
organize.
Aparna, actually, in the same group where you are for the webinar, we will share the registration link for Venkatji's course, Excel courses. So there are different levels, and we'll give you some details there, and you can feel
Sure.
free to
Thank you.
register for that.
Thank you
Actually,
so
I'm going
much.
to register myself too.
Okay, thank you so much. So we're learning buddies over there then. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
thanks.
Venkatji, from my side, actually I have a request to do a few more sessions, because Excel, I realized, is such a huge topic that even
Yes.
with just this functionality, we didn't even know how the time just flew. So I think if you are available, whenever you are available, we would love to have you. And I would love to share the details for your courses. I'm sure, like Aparna and me,
Absolutely.
there'll be more
No,
people
it's a
wanting to
continuous
join.
Happy to, because people ask me, why do you choose Excel? You could have chose Power BI. I tell people, okay, this is my passion. I'm doing it for 1992, right? I left my high paid job in 2013. I worked as a CEO for a software company, right? But I left it because wherever I worked, I end up in doing, something or the other for in Excel only, no matter whatever is application. And Raja knows, because we worked on a couple of projects together. Okay, whatever he has, he will ask me, Venkat, can you do it in Excel? I will do it, and will tell the customer, this is how we have to do it. And so I thought, okay, why not we educate the people? My vision is to reach 1,11,100 Excel users, to make this system use it effectively and efficiently, so that they can save at least few hours of their time, and they can invest quality time with the family. That's the objective, right? Because you can see, I see many people are living inside the Excel only. They work day in, day out. You can see they are living in Excel only. I don't want that to happen. When there is a potential for that system, no, take the Tesla car. When there is an automatic driver is available, enjoy the driving. Make it automatic and enjoy. No, you cannot say, because I bought it for 1 million or 10 million, I only will drive. Drive, because you don't know the potential of it. You are not using it. Right? If you know the potential, make use of it. That's it. It's as simple as.
One last question before we wind up, if I may ask. I mean, do you see a huge difference between a, Windows system as well as a Mac, Excel on Mac? Okay.
See, it is not an apple to apple comparison first. Okay. So everything has its own pros and cons, right? Why I chose? Because Excel is a proprietary application of Microsoft, which owns the Windows also. The
Yeah.
interoperability is very easy, right? Even in Power Query, when you use in Mac, it has its own limitation, right? You have a limitations when you are using it in this. And few years before, there is no direct Excel version for Mac itself. Either you have to use the cross operating system. On top of it, you will have to install this, or I think there is an application part of Entrage. I know Outlook is named as Entrage, and some other Excel numbers and words. All these applications were a replacement for numbers. I mean Excel, but still nothing can replace Excel. And there are freewares available. Kingsoft is there, OpenOffice is there, StarOffice is there, but still people would love to go for Excel because it has its own feature, and Windows is a different operating system. Mac is a different operating system. Okay. It has its own pros and cons. Mac is a very stable, steady system. Even Windows also. But the easiest part, what I love with Windows is no matter whatever is the problem, one restart will do. That's all. It takes care of it. You don't need to do anything.
Yeah.
Very true.
Right? Mac it doesn't go. You have to do it. You have to go step by step. Lot of things you have to do. So
You have to
Windows,
go
no
to an
problem.
Apple store. You
Ah.
actually have to go to an Apple store. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
No, both people will charge 500 only. Windows, they charge 500 rupees, whereas Apple charge $500. That's the difference.
Yeah,
Yes,
money
Mahesh, you
issues.
have a question?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
There are certain softwares which gives out a report using Jasper, and the format, of course, it gives a option to save it in Excel. Okay, but what happens is it creates too many columns and rows, and there is a level difference. Are there tools available which can help in regulating and shortening it?
Sir, again, my favorite, my expertise tool is Power Query, sir. Right? Power Query, because we download a lot of data from other applications where it comes with additional features. Like, it'll have 3 lines of headings, the date, the column, and at the bottom, some total and all these things, right? With the Power Query, we'll trim all these things, do a transfer. See, Power Query is called as ETL, that is extract, transform, and load back into your system, right? That's the tool. So you can extract from any format. So the Power Query supports extracting the data from Excel file or a CSV file or a text file or a HTML file, a JSON file, right? It can connect with the server. You can take the data from SQL Server or MySQL, Azure. In addition to that, they have recently introduced you can import the data from PDF, and you can import the data from image also. Now you have a tabular which is scanned. You can straight away get into this Excel and you make it editable. That is also possible. And these things, and in addition to that, now let's say non-RDBMS applications like Tally. Okay, no, that is not a, because the database what they are using, it's a sequential method. They are not using any the relational database, right? So even with that, with the open database connectivity through Excel, you can connect to Tally and you can bring the data from Tally tables to your Excel. But of course, you need to understand the Tally, how it is, the tables are structured, and the Tally service provider can help us to do it, and we can bring this data. But instead of making it complex, I will tell the people download from Tally, will transform it in Power Query, because I follow the framework called KISS. Keep it short and simple. I don't complicate things at all. Right? Make it simple and do it. That's it. That's how I do it. I hope I answered your question, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Maybe question.
Another one thing.
Yeah, please.
Typically, you have answered it partially earlier. Is the size of the database? You said that you had multiple. You had a way in which higher number of lines can also be, rows can be downloaded. There are also issues. Sometimes what happens is, yes, it gets downloaded. Say there are not the it has not touched the maximum line, or even that what 10 lakh lines or something is the limit. Even it is say 5 lakh rows only. But the data calculations becomes very slow.
Understood.
Sir,
Sir,
so are
we need
there
to
ways
understand.
which
Yeah,
to
of
improve
course.
that?
Yeah, of course. Now, what the project, what I was referring with Amit Ganguly sir, right? The people they used to do this work for one client for 3 days. Now, after optimizing it, they do it in 10 minutes for 8 clients. That's a transformation calculations because they deal with millions and millions of records. Okay, so the best option is you don't do the calculation in the front end, right? The sheet, when you're using a sheet functions, okay, every time it recalculates, right? That's why I recommended the Power Query. When you do this query, the calculation happens on the back end only on demand, meaning when there is a change, when you need it. And so when you, the output of the query is a simple table. There is no calculations there. It's only an output. You cannot see any formulas. Whereas in the back end, query process everything, right? So it takes one-time process. It preserves the data and give the data into a table, and it works. And many people do this mistake. They copy and paste the exact data in the Excel sheet. I always recommend don't do that because the data is there at some place. Why do you want to duplicate it? Because when you want to duplicate, Excel file carries that weight also, plus the calculation also, it goes there. When you know, when you learn how to connect this data, the data in the back end without loading it, you are reducing, you are going to have a very less size and you have more space for calculation. So we have to optimize that way and we have to use it, sir.
Thank you.
Amazing. See, this is the advantage of interacting with someone who has the industry experience. If Venkatji would have been a pure trainer person, he didn't have the direct experience of load balancing, load optimization, and all these things. But since he comes from a corporate background, that's why he knows and he understands how important those things are. So thank you.
So
All
my
right.
IT experience, with the because I'm a Microsoft Dynamics implementation specialist. I'm a CCNA also. I'm a Oracle DBA, SQL DBA. I've done all these things, right? With this blend of knowledge, Excel is helping me to balance everything, make the people to understand how the system can be effectively used.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If there is no other question, Archana ji, shall we wind up? You may go
Yes,
for the
yes.
thank
I
you note.
think, yeah, as Venkatji himself was saying, he has to rush actually for his other session.
Yeah.
So I would like to thank both of you, Amit ji, for wonderfully moderating this session and all the wonderful participants for actively participating. And Venkatji, no words to thank you. I don't even want to yet thank you because I need you to come many more times. And in the figure that you have as a goal to achieve, let us know how much we can take and support you with. So we are in the process of making our goal for next quarter. And definitely your Excel is going to be one of the programs we as CLC would want to push it to the market because we see the value that it can bring to the people. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Nandri, Vanakkam. Thank you.